Okay, here we are back with our skull. What we're going to do is do the sculpting now. I'll probably speed through some of this stuff after we get past the basics. But let's go back in here, and I'm going to pull up my brushes here. And I'm going to go to Move tool first. So B, M, and then Move is B. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pull this in a little bit here. I'm just, since I'm on, since I'm on symmetry, I can just do some form shaping right here. Just do this, and I can pull this in a little bit, and just do a little bit more. Okay. Now we come back to the side, and we do the same thing. Pull it out. Like that. Probably lift this up. Like that. And then this goes up too. This comes out to here. This actually goes up into there. Let me pull the forward or the head out a little bit here. Give ourselves a little bit of nose indication and bridge of the. And pull these in. And we know that's going to pop out in a second, but that's fine. So I'm going to open, probably the tool I'm going to use the most right now is going to be inside of my draw. So what I might do in this case is just move this over here, because I'm going to use this quite a bit as I do it. Okay, so it's at 1 film mode. I'm going to turn off the front and take a look at it. And we'll see that it's, it's not perfect. That's fine. We can smooth it out. We're going to be doing a lot of that as time goes on. But the reason, again, I go back and I look at this and I go, wow, that's, look how fast it's molding when I change stuff. And that's because I used lower polys. The less polys you have to start with, the better it is for sculpting and shaping. Okay, so we can start to see some of the problems like this. It needs to come down a little bit more. Probably do want it to be bent back. Well, and then I'm going to go to my clay buildup, which is B, C, where's that B? Again. I'm going to cut out this. Okay. So, next thing we might want to do is come back over here real quick and turn on front, because guess what is something that helps us really see this face better? Oh, also, I might as well Dynamesh again as I start changing some forms. Is this. If you cut those eyes in, and then if you take a smaller version and cut in that nose, like this, and then we start to get our face. I mean, automatically it starts to look like a skull, right? So now we need to see, if we pull in here, how much do we pull in? So we're going to pull in this area, soften it up. That's the great thing about Dynamesh, is if you do that soften up thing, it will soften it up for us. So I'm looking at this. Sometimes what I do, is go back into my Photoshop file and turn up the contrast on this picture so I can get something a little bit better towards where I want to be. So pull this again. Again, we're just blocking in forms at this point. If I take a look at it this way, I can start to say, okay, I want to put these teeth in here real quick. Try this out. I'm going to turn on my favorite back face normals, turn that off. Like that. Just like that. So I'll pull this out. go. Take a look at it from the side. Maybe pull in the brow a little bit. We'll soften it. Too much. That's fine. And that's also the thing about using the lower res. The lower it is, the more likely you're going to have you're going to have things cave faster. I'm going to take this pull this down. Already we're starting to get there. There's a lot of different things we want to look at. I'm going to open up this and take a look at some of these. What I'll usually do is have a bunch of different images sitting around that I can look at. So I'm going to look at this one too. See how far this one sits back? I like that better than this side image, which seems really flat to me. But that's okay. We'll live with the flat one for now. The weird thing is from this one, oops, is that this area, which goes out to here and into here, it's quite a bit forward. Okay, so one of the other things I liked about this one, I keep pointing back to this one, is that I can see the gap where the teeth happen, because you don't really have it completely full like the teeth down here. How it caps right there. Interesting. That's another reason I know that one's not real, or at least not based off a real skull. That's okay. You know what? We're not looking for perfection. We're just looking for some general layouts for our skull. So when we start building our character, our head, we can do it from a form that we understand. The reason that I'm having you do this too is because understanding the muscle structure and the bone structure underneath the muscle structure is key to making a character look good. So understanding the pockets and where the muscles come in and out is really important. So we'll pull this out a little bit more. If we're going to make it a cartoony one, we can make it angry too, but we're not there. We'll take a look at this from the front. And we can come back over here and turn this up to 2 so we can see a little bit better. Looks pretty good. Okay, this part right here, I'm going to hide my ground plane. Okay, so this part right here and here are actually, there's a hole. And more importantly, there's a hole under here to here. So I'm going to teach you guys, y'all, how to make a hole in your geometry inside a ZBrush. It's not by just digging into it like that. Okay, so we're going to use a new tool here. We're going to take this and pull it back a little bit more. Like that. Smooth it down a little bit. Come under here. Now, if you don't have this backface mesh mask turned off, then you might have problems with that. So let me show you what that is under brush. It's under auto masking, and then it's backface mask right there. So we'll do this, soften it up. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, oops, wrong button. I'm going to take this and select it, and if I'm, oh, if I turn this back off, oops, if I turn this back off, it'll select both sides of it. Okay. Like that. This is why I use this, by the way, so I can really see what I'm selecting in my alphas. Now, this tool I'm going to show you doesn't work with Let me smooth this out. Sorry, little things. Doesn't work with symmetry, so we'll have to turn that off in a second here, but just so you understand. Okay, we'll pull it like that. And let's take a look at F real quick, and we'll see it's all one big color. That's one poly group. We're going to change that. So if we push Control, Shift, and then click, or I'm not sorry, if we push Control W right now, it takes whatever I have selected and makes it a new poly group. Poly groups are key to working inside a ZBrush. So I'm going to take that poly group, and I'm going to select the pink this time. So I'm going to push Control, Shift. Remember, that's how we got our trim stuff too, but we're just going to use it for pulling out a color. So if we push Control, Shift, it's going to hide whatever is not selected in the poly group, by a poly group. So if I select the pink, it's going to hide the green. If I select the green, it's going to hide the pink. So if I select the pink, it hides the green. Okay, so why would I do that? Well, what I need to do now is it's hidden, it's not deleted. I need to delete the hidden right there. Where do you find that? Again, this is the reason I put these brushes, these shortcuts everywhere, is inside of the brain, modify topology, delete hidden. It's the same button as this right here. I'm going to delete hidden. Now I don't have anything hidden. You have to make sure you do that, because if you try and do anything with it hidden, it's not going to, it's going to ignore your request. It's going to complain. Okay, now we're going to go to a new brush. It's called Curve Bridge. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on the skull towards the hole on one side. But first I need to turn off my symmetry, because it's going to confuse the computer. We should have to do it twice. Or we can do something else. I'll show you in a second. Curve Bridge, and I'm going to click here, and right before I get there, I hold Snap. It'll snap select that one. Then I'm going to go to the other side and say Control, dot Control, just drag it, and then Shift, and it'll snap to that one too. When I let go this time, it fills in that hole. Pretty cool, right? So I'm going to just click here on the object again, and now I've got it closed. And then if I do a Dynamesh on it again, it'll smooth that out. Now, probably close this side, that's fine. Because what we're going to do is take a little bit of love here, clean that up. There's other ways to do this too, but this is the way we're going to do it right now. You could also use Boolean and stuff like that, but this is a really fast answer. Okay, so I've got that hole on one side. Now what? Well, if I go back to the front, and since I was very careful to make this symmetrical and make sure that everything was built even, so if I'm here, I'm in the same exact spot, that means they're both exactly the same. So I'm going to come over to this, which is Mirror and Weld. And where do I find that? In the same place I find Delete Hidden. Right above it is Mirror and Weld. So Mirror and Weld. And what it did is it took this side, it always takes the right side, or the left side, and mirrors it to the right. So if I look at it, now it's on both sides. And then if I want to make it back to one color, I just Control W, and it resets my smoothing, or my polygroups. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to start figuring out, turn off this. I'm going to start figuring out, probably need to add some more to it. So what we'll do, let's get that out of there. And we'll come back to our Dynamesh, and we're going to change that this time to 128. We'll double it. We'll push Control and drag. And if it didn't work, then we push it again. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if it changed it. It went to 12,000. That's not enough. So if I do a little, sometimes Dynamesh gets really finicky, and if I don't have a change, it doesn't do a very good job at Dynameshing. So just made a change, and then I'll Control drag off the side, and now it's up to 48K. Now we're getting closer. Okay, so if we pull up our picture again, Shift P, we can start to look at how we're doing here. Now, what it looks like is this area in here is way too thin on mine. Totally fine, we can fix that. So we're going to come down, and we're going to start building in, and probably want to turn this back face back on. What that does is this. Let me show you what that does so you understand what we're looking at and why I'm doing that. thing that doesn't work sometimes, it makes things not work, is this. Let me turn off this real quick. If I don't have that on and I start sculpting in here, and of course it's not going to, hold on. And I'd start sculpting in here, it's a jerk. It starts going through, okay? If I don't, because it's looking at the backside, that's actually what we see right there. But if I don't, if I turn on back face and I fill this in, and also if you see things like that, just do your Dynamesh, it'll get rid of that weirdness. If I don't, now when I sculpt, I know I'm not gonna cut into what I don't want to cut into. Now we just probably want to do some smoothing and some layouts, and then what I'll do is do it fast. And then next video will be on the jaw. All right, that's good enough for now. It's just like I said, we're blocking in stuff. We could spend days just on a skull, but we're just trying to get some forms blocked in, so you guys can have, or you all can have a skull set up for building skin surfaces on top of as of Thursday. And there. It's not perfect by any means. And I'd tweak it forever if it was a real skull for being used just as a skull. But if I can stop myself from tweaking it now, that is. Yeah. If you look at it like this. It's a little bit harsh. But more or less. Okay. And I will see you in the next one.